Attention, this is a special report about Death Satan. Little children, Death Satan, your enemy, is the cause of all evil. You've been born into a world that belongs to Death Satan. Your enemy is death, and death is Satan, and Satan is death. Little children, Death Satan is the giver of lies. As you see in this world, which is nothing more than a digital simulation, you live in a world that's made of dust, where everything returns back to dust. And you don't need to know how to read to understand this phenomenon. You don't need a Bible to know the existence of Death Satan. You can go to a cemetery. You can observe the headstones of those who've gone before you. You could observe the leaves on a tree and how it goes from one color to the next, fading from green to brown, eventually going back to the dust. And when it comes to this state of death, the world describes death as a type of thing, as a type of event. But death is a person. Death is a being. So it comes down to who is death instead of what is death. And death is a fallen spirit that's driven by anger and hatred towards all that is truth, pure, freedom, and love. Death Satan was there in the beginning. He was there in eternity, before time began. And he's looking to destroy all who are pure and good-hearted. Now, when it comes to this word Satan, is there any validity to this word Satan that Bible worshipers use? And the answer is yes. The word origin of Satan is this. Satan comes from two words, sand and time. Sand time is Satan, and Satan is sand time. Sand and time is that which makes up this false reality in your mind. Sand and time is what this dream world is made of. It is what causes separation, space between the Creator, life, and His creation. Remember that you've been born into the world known as the abyss, an underworld full of space. And this is the result of the influence of Death Satan. Why death? If God is love and He's good, why wouldn't God simply destroy Death Satan? Why does He allow for Death Satan to exist? Well, the giver of lies is allowed to exist for the purpose of testing. The Creator of the stars will not allow for a repeat of what happened with manifest red. When you see that red liquid that flows underneath your skin in the veins that we called blood, that's a remnant of what once was a beautiful state of being that was tarnished by Death Satan. And the Creator does not want that to happen again. So He allows for spirits to come into this state of Death Satan. And He has them tested here. with a choice. In this world of illusions, you can choose to believe the lie of death Satan that is before your very eyes. Or you can choose the truth of what's in the invisible world, unseen to the natural eyes, that can only be felt for with the heart. This is the purpose of death Satan, and why the Creator simply does not remove him. He's actually here as a part of the test, to test you, to see, do you really love the truth that's forever? Or do you love temporary things that will go into the ground? And a part of that test is this device called the Bible. Death made the Bible, which is an idol and a device of mind control, as a part of its test, because the Bible is what death gives to control those who don't love the truth. Death gives the Bible to control his people. But the Creator who made the stars, the life giver, gives the Spirit. And when it comes down to this Bible, death gave this Bible by being able to transform itself into life. Little children, death in this world is actually called life. You see it all around you because of this book religion based on the book of the dead called the Bible, because they'll tell you that in the beginning God made the heavens and the earth, and they'll tell you that you've been made in the image of God, but the truth of life is you've been made in the image of death. Your body is made of dust. It's sand dust that's fading away, and it's going back into the ground. So you have to realize the truth of life is in the beginning was the devil, death Satan, because your spirit, little children, just like the true God, doesn't have a beginning, but your spirit always was, and your spirit will always be. But the world has been deceived by the power of death Satan through this device called the Bible. They've been seduced into believing that this world was made by the same God who made the galaxies. They've been seduced by the phantom voice of death Satan in their mind that tells them that in the beginning God made the heaven and the earth, and that God made them to rule this world, to live, to be fruitful, and to multiply. But when you hear that, they've done told you a lie. So understand the truth of life, little children, is not found in the world of death, but it's only found in the world unseen, the world of life. But because of this device called the Bible, little children, death has been able not only to transform himself into life, but death Satan has been able to transform itself into the Savior of the world. Because in 2011, the Spirit told me that faith was hijacked. And then he said that the last real saint Christians, the last real Christians were killed off hundreds of years ago. And then he said something that blew me away. He said that the Savior of the world was not the real God. It was not the living Jesus. It was not somebody of divine origin, but that the Savior of the world was the devil. And I was blown away when the Spirit told me these things. But this is the truth of life, little children, that the devil, death Satan, has become the Savior of the world. And you're up against 2.4 billion people who've been saved by death. Death Satan gave them a book, the Bible, the book of the dead, to control their body. And that's why the voice of truth, the life giver, told me after he said this was a digital simulation, he said that I am not my body to break me from under the power of death Satan. You have to realize that death Satan, he's been masquerading as a Christian for hundreds of years now, and many people are in a strong delusion because they believe this this is the real world, when in truth, this is the dream world. But remember, little children, that the enemy made the Bible because he needed to stop the voice of truth. He needed to stop freedom and love and life from reaching the people of God. So he has people today following this book of the dead, words in red that tell them to go ye unto all the world, that tells them to love their neighbor and to love their enemy, to feed the hungry and to clothe the naked, to lay hands on the sick and that they will be healed. These are not the words of the life giver, little children, but these are the words of death, Satan. When you follow Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you're under the old covenant of the Jews' religion, little children. All of those words in red, that has nothing to do with you in the here and now, because the life giver, the voice of truth, is not found in the book of death, Satan, but the real voice of truth is only found inside of you. When you want to know the real Jesus, don't open up a Bible, but if you want to know the real Jesus, open up your heart. See, it comes down to this, little children. As a part of this test, you got this world that's divided. Death, Satan wants you to be a divided person going against your heart. So when you follow words in red, you have people that I know that are married to people that they don't even want to be married to. But because of the book of the dead that was given to them by death, Satan, they stay married to these people. They do things that go against their own heart, and they're divided. That's why you have over 40,000 different divisions. But little children, the real Jesus doesn't have a kingdom that's divided. In the kingdom of the life giver, there's no such thing as a Mormon. There's no such thing as a Catholic. There's no such thing as a Methodist. There's no such thing as a Lutheran. There's no such thing as a Jehovah's Witness. There's no such thing as a Church of the Nazarene. But there's only oneness. And that's what he wants you to hear today, is that you got to become one with the Creator within your heart. If you're going to defeat death, to overcome death, Satan, you gotta burn the book and look to the life giver. You can't be defined by words in red. If you're gonna hear life, you got to learn to burn the book. You can't be somebody that's defined by your history. You can't be somebody that's controlled by your past. But if you're gonna have real life, you got to hold to the eternal covenant of life, God inside of you. You got to hear the living words of the living voice of truth, because the living words of the voice of truth, he'll tell you that the Bible is the mark of the beast. The living voice of truth, the life giver, is not divided, and you got to hold to the Creator within if you're going to have life, because he gives the Spirit to his children. He doesn't give us a Bible. There's no such thing as a living book, but there is a such thing as a living spirit. Little children, open up your heart, because the Satan machine of death, the death machine, he's trying to tell you that you got to follow the law in his book, but the only law that you got to follow are the words planted in your heart. Follow the words of life that are found inside you. You got to rage now against the machine. Rage against the machine. Hold to the life giver within. Hold to the Creator in your heart. Hold to the words of life. See, you got to remember that the words of death from the lawgiver are found in red, but the words of life from the life giver are found in the Spirit. The Bible is the book of the dead. The Bible is an alien implant.